Welcome to Procurement Doodles. We are in the Guideline for Selecting an Employment of Consultants series. Today, we are going to talk about the terms of reference, or as we call it, the TOR. Another very important aspect you must know. So, let's go. Imagine building a house without a blueprint. You might end up with a beautiful door where the kitchen window should be. The same logic applies to our consulting assignments. Without a clear roadmap, even the best consultants will get lost. That roadmap is called the Terms of Reference, or TOR, and contrary to what some might think, preparing the TOR is not the consultant's job. Let's look at who is responsible. Section 3.3 is clear. The procurement entity, or a specialized consultancy they hire, is responsible for preparing the TOR. This isn't just an administrative task, it is a strategic one. Why? Because the TOR must be compatible with the available budget. There's no point asking for a space shuttle design if you only have the budget for a bicycle. A good TOR does three things perfectly. First, it defines the objectives, goals, and scope. Second, it provides background information, existing studies, basic data, to help consultants write realistic proposals. And third, and this is critical, it knows when to stop. The TOR should not be so detailed and inflexible that it strangles creativity. If you tell a consultant exactly which pen to use and which chair to sit in, you kill their ability to propose a better methodology. In fact, we should encourage consultants to comment on the TOR in their proposals. They might see a smarter way forward that you missed. So, what goes into the perfect TOR? Let's look at the standard outline. First, the background. Tell the story. Who is the PE? Where is the site? What studies have been done already? Don't make them start from zero. Second, the objectives. Be precise. Are you conducting a feasibility study, designing a bridge, or supervising construction? Clarity here avoids confusion later. Third, the scope of work. This is where you list the activities, not the methodology. For example, say survey the riverbank, not use a theodolite at 10-meter intervals. Leave the how to the expert. Fourth, transfer of knowledge. If you want the consultant to train your staff, say it. Specifically, how many staff? In what topics? If you don't write it down, don't expect it to happen. Fifth, deliverables and schedule. Reports, maps, software, specify them. But balance is key. You want progress reports, but you don't want the consultant spending 40% of their time writing updates instead of doing the work. Sixth, the PE's role. What are you providing? Office space? Survey data? Counterpart staff? List it clearly. And finally, institutional arrangements. Who is the boss? Who reviews the reports? Define the hierarchy so there is no confusion about authority. One last pro tip. For phased assignments, don't write the second phase in stone. Make the first phase detailed and let the results of that phase shape the details of the next. Rigidity ruins complex projects. Remember, a great TOR saves money, time, and headaches. A bad TOR guarantees confusion. Prepare it thoughtfully, keep it flexible where it counts, and always define who does what. Master these 7, and your TOR will set every assignment up for success. Now, what comes next? Once your TOR is solid, you need to find the right consultant. That means understanding the long list and short list process for hiring consultants. And that is exactly what our next video will cover. Thank you, and see you there. Hey, if you want to never miss a future upload, hit that red subscribe button, then click the bell icon right next to it. From the pop-up, choose all notifications. That way, every time we drop a new video, you'll get an instant alert. Let's grow together. Subscribe and turn on the bell now.